somehow different, that there is a political movement around it. We think that it's somehow different than like, making the Jets everything in your life, being like a sports weeb, or being a weeb in general, or being a Marvel fan. That's the only difference here, is that like, for some reason we categorize being a gun guy as something different. And obviously it is different in some ways because guns kill people, whereas the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as far as we know, does not, right? So there is a negative consequence of like,
It's
gun
a hobby
fetishization.
that
But it's a
also
hobby.
kills people.
Yeah, it's a
all
hobby.
the time.
I like guns. I shoot guns. I never hide my, my fascination with guns. I have gone to the gun range multiple times, but I also understand that it is a murder weapon. It's expressly and exclusively designed to end life, and that it should be heavily regulated by the government, and that we should not have so many guns in circulation.
Yeah, I was saying we should just abolish the DMV. I mean, in Texas, you don't even need a license.
Or are you
to own
giving
a
them
fucking
ideas right
AR-15.
now?
You
You're
don't even
literally
need to
giving them ideas.
Well, I'm just saying, be consistent. Let's just get. I mean, why are we registering cars? Because
Yeah.
like, you can go in Texas, you can give your homie a gun.
Yeah.
And say, here's my AR-15. You don't need to register it. You don't need a license. I was like, can you anywhere in the country just give your homie a car?
Well,
No,
the
you have to
the
register it.
conservative debate pervert retort to that is, well, actually, cars are not protected by the Second Amendment. Like, it's not a God-given, constitutionally protected
Yeah, I've
right.
read the Second Amendment. Neither is fucking your AR-15.
You're absolutely correct on that. As a matter of fact, up until 2008, the interpretation of the Second Amendment was drastically different.
Bro, it says
Moving-
a well-regulated militia for state defense. Are you fucking dumb?
Dude, it's a totally new and totally made up, ridiculous interpretation of the Second Amendment to
It's
justify.
so obvious. It's so obvious when you read it, right? Like, a well-regulated militia. Okay, you're talking about a well-regulated militia. Not, first of all, let's just take that in context. Not some fucking guy in his basement with the AR-15. First, they even say of the militia it needs to be well-regulated.
Yeah.
So you're not even part of that, okay?
Yeah.
Being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. How, dude, it's fucking like, it's not even really open for debate. It's written pretty clearly.
Throughout the entire history of the United States of America, this was well understood, and only in the last like 3 decades have we genuinely reinterpreted the Second Amendment and have made it basically the most fundamentally important law. It's marketing, and it's very effective marketing, especially because it is marketing around a type of commodity that people love and absolutely make their entire personality. We are alienating.
A lot of people make so much money from it too. I mean,
yeah. No, for sure. Look at ammo sales. Every time a school shooting happens, look at that. Like in the aftermath of Columbine, which was the first like big, heavily publicized school shooting. There was of course a string of those mass shootings and school shootings since then, but that was like the kind of big thing the first time when everyone was like, "What the fuck? This is crazy."
Yeah.
NPR uncovered conversations that the NRA had immediately in the aftermath of that. They're basically going back and forth being like, well, we should set up a victims fund, right? And then someone in the room is like, absolutely not. That would mean that like we are saying guns are responsible for this. And they did end up making a victim compensation fund, but like they raised $1 million for it. But ultimately they were like, we do not take any responsibility. That's when it changed. Like that's when the attitude completely shifted. And the NRA was like, oh, we can get away with just saying like, with deflections.
Oh, yeah.
And basically stating that like it's everything but the guns that are the problem. And it's been incredibly successful thus far.
Absolutely.
And they pump millions of dollars into Congress.
Dude,
but
you got to see how much money some of these congressmen. Mitt Romney has received $13 million from the NRA. You're basically just an employee at that point.
Well, I mean, Mitt Romney's caked up. He doesn't even need the NRA's money. But
he's super rich, but it doesn't change the fact.
But remember, this is a two-pronged approach. That's why I always stress that it's not just the lobbying, because a lot of those people will be pro-guns regardless, right? They would be pro-guns regardless. Why? Because their constituents are pro-guns. Americans have a fascination with weapons. They fetishize it. They make it their entire lives. Like it's fascinating to see coming into this country from the outside. Like from the outside looking in, it was insane, and then actually being in the country and seeing it blows my fucking mind.
But go back to the Second Amendment. people, gun right activists, they will. I think they don't know what it says clearly. They just say, Second Amendment. I can own any gun I want, and you can't do nothing about it. It's like, bitch, can you own a fucking tank? Like, clearly, there's
They want that.
already regulations on this.
That's why Tim Pool says, like, yeah, I think everyone should be able to have a tactical nuke if they want to. And it's like,
Did he
okay,
really
dude.
say that?
He did. He
That's
did say
awesome.
that because
Good,
that is
man.
the logical.
That's awesome, bro.
That's the logical conclusion.
Shout
of-
out to all of our. Shout out to everyone working on a nuclear, on nuclear devices in their basement.
Yeah, no, we need to arm the children at schools with rocket-propelled grenades.
I think
like RPGs.
tactical nukes at every school.
Yeah, that's the only way to defend our schools is actually if they're auto turrets.
Mutual assured destruction at every school.
Yeah. This is, ironically, the position of the conservatives, though, because, like, they have used multiple different deflections time and time again. Good guy with a gun being, like, the main one, which is a myth, by the way. Having a gun in any kind of altercation drastically increases the likelihood that, one, you will get that gun stolen, and then it will be a black market gun used for crimes, or worse, drastically increases the chance that, like, that gun will be used on you. You will be hurt by a gun. If you have a gun.
Next time someone says Second Amendment, ask them, are you part of a well-regulated militia?
I mean, some of them are going to say yes because they're going to be like 3%
to defend the security of your state.
I think I wipe
Also,
my ass with the Constitution. Okay, fuck the Constitution. I just want to put that out there.
Well, it's like, listen, you got to play by their rules, okay? Like, even by their own fucking rules, it doesn't make any sense. I agree. I'm fully in favor of totally abolishing the Second Amendment. When they wrote this shit, it took people a minute to reload their fucking musket with powder and a iron ball. Okay, we're not talking about AR-15s. If the founding fathers saw an AR-15, they fucking shit their bed, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if they saw black people walking around free, they'd be like, "What the fuck is going on right now?"
Yeah, exactly. So these guys are not exactly, I don't think these guys have authority to speak on what happened.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like a bunch of fucking slave owners who got owned by the age of like 35 and died to like diseases that we've eviscerated. Deciding what to do with the country, even though their decisions ultimately were that. I mean, there's a Supreme Court. Their decisions obviously, literally, were just like, hey, you should rewrite this sometimes.
Yeah, they were very clear. I mean, that's why you have amendments. That's why you have.
Like, we're not going to get everything right.
We have amended the Constitution many times. Okay, slavery. The 3/5 principle was in the Constitution, wasn't it? I mean,
the slavery thing is like it's technically not abolished. The 13th Amendment still allows people to
because prisoner.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, straight up, prison slave labor is still very much appropriate, according to the Constitution. But
yeah, your point is.
You can. It's a living, breathing document. You can absolutely reinterpret it. But the problem is, like, in America, I don't know if this is like Calvinist principles at play here, but
who's Calvin?
It's just a way of thought. But
who is Calvin, Hassan?
The theological system of Calvin and his followers, marked by a strong emphasis on the sovereignty of God, the depravity of humankind, and the doctrine of predestination.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So,
his name's just Calvin. He's like Cher. He doesn't have a last name. John Calvin.
John Calvin.
Shout out, John.
It's a type of Protestant religion.
So
it's a Protestant interpretation.
Got it.
Americans are the kookiest Protestants.
Got it.
Evangelical like Protestants are some of the biggest problems some of the reason for the biggest problems that we see in the Republican Party, including the criminalization of abortion. We'll talk about that. But my point was this, okay? Some of these dudes basically were like, okay, like, even if I'm not super into God personally, okay, they've turned the Constitution into a Bible, basically. And the Founding Fathers are deities, and our interpretation of the Constitution is basically, Constitution is infallible, can't be wrong. We treat it like a dogma, like we treat it in this dogmatic way, and it's very disturbing, and it's just totally being weaponized by reactionaries every step of the way.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are worshiping people who believe that women were second-class citizens who couldn't vote, and that they believed in slavery, legalized rape, legal, forced family separation. I mean, look, they're a product of their time. I get that, but these guys were fucking, by measure of today, extremely evil. They had good ideas about democracy, and let's fucking just take it from there. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's move on.
But the constitutional interpretation is one thing. But I have to stress this: like, it has changed throughout the years. It wasn't always the case. No matter how much people try to gaslight you, it literally was not the case. For the longest time in American history, no one thought about the Second Amendment as this like insane, it, like, you know, means you can have whatever kind of guns you want to have, type thing until recently, and that corresponds to the massive surplus of freely accessible, easily accessible murder machines, such as, like, you know, long barrel semi-automatic rifles and whatnot. You know,
there's one thing I want to watch before we get into the
I love
main
this
portion
video.
of this. You know, this video comes up every once in a while when stuff like this happens, and it's very poignant. I think they make a really good point here, very simply. And
13-year-old
here,
boy
just
from
watch
Virginia
this.
this is what
who
this
just
is
got his
insane.
braces off
Yeah,
and
it's
usually
nuts.
spends Saturday morning playing basketball with his friends. But he's also a young actor. And
Kinda
today,
fucked up that
we
the
hired him to help us
Chiron
make
is
a point.
spoiling it.
We
Yeah, why'd
asked
you
him to take a drive around
spoiler
town,
alert.
with his mother, of course, since he's not nearly old enough to drive a car. We pass shops where he isn't old enough to work the register. Then we stop at the convenience store to see Jack try to buy beer.
Can't get it. No.
The cashier can't believe he even tried.
Literally, he looks like he's 12.
At the next store, Jack tries to buy cigarettes, with no luck.
I'm so sorry I can't send you a cigarette.
Later, he strikes out trying to buy Racy magazine,
You have to be 18 or older.
All right, okay, thank you.
and then lottery tickets.
Can I get a couple scratch-offs?
How old are you? You got your ID?
13.
You what?
I'm 13.
I love how he's on it.
Scratch off thing.
Okay.
It's laughable to everyone here, the idea that we'd ever expose a 13-year-old to the dangers of a lottery ticket. But then
Yeah.
we arrive
Unless you're
here.
on Twitch, baby.
Shout out XQC.
Let's go. Let's go. Unless you're on fucking Twitch.tv, baby.
No, XQC.
Very
shout
easily
out.
accessible crypto gambling coming
Shout
to a home near
out.
you.
Yeah, fuck scratchers. That's
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. What you can
Let's
bear-
go
you can
straight to
basically
the
drop
hard
20.
shit, baby.
Yeah.
Slots.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Sponsored by steak.com. Okay, let's see.
But then we arrive here, at the gun show.
It should shoot pretty good for you.
I'll take it.
Within minutes, the
I'll take it.
13-year-old easily and legally bought a .22 caliber rifle from a private seller and walked away with it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
How wild.
Interesting. Well,
America, baby. That is the best fucking video to just showcase how much I love this fucking country, dude. I'm
I
getting
mean-
so horned up for I want to fuck a bald eagle right now after watching that video.
it's just, it really is a good, it's really powerfully stated and shot. And I mean, like, ordinarily, this guy who sold him the rifle, what kind of sick fuck are you? Like, I guess it's legal technically, but
Yeah, a sick fuck that just made out like a bandit.
but thank you, young
Well,
man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
Thank
Mr.
you, young
Ethan
man.
Klein. You don't
Don't-
want industrious individuals to
Now,
make
don't
money.
point that at nobody.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't even give a fuck. If you pointed at people. No, yeah, what I saw from this video was actually how disturbing and disgusting it is that the state will stop a 13-year-old from buying beer. What the fuck, dude?
That's tyranny, bro.
That is literally the nanny state
Let this
coming
kid
out.
buy beer. Let
We
this
need
kid
to-
buy scratchers.
We need to let 7-year-olds buy beer in this goddamn country. What is this, communist China? What the fuck is going on? They won't let him get a scratch off? It's bullshit. Or menthol cigarettes. I want all of that.
This boy, it deserves cigarettes. Let
Yeah.
him buy it. He needs to make his own. His parents will make the decision for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's thank our sponsor real fast, and then we'll get into the meat of the episode. Quick thank you to our sponsor, DoorDash. Boy, I use these guys way too much. Tell you what. You've got back-to-back meetings, errands to run, and chores to take care of. What's the secret to clearing your to-do list? A little help from DoorDash. You can get dinner, household essentials, and everything on your grocery list delivered with DoorDash. Get what you want to eat right now and right to your door with DoorDash. Along with restaurants you love, you can now get groceries and other essential items delivered with DoorDash. drinks, snacks, other household items in under an hour. Are you craving late night ice cream? DoorDash, bitch. You forgot that one key ingredient? DoorDash, motherfucker.
You don't even have to think about it, dude.
You're cursing a lot in this ad.
I'm just hyped, dude.
You just-
You get everything on one app, okay? And they've got over 300,000 partners.
You know what you should have done the other day when you had that frozen pizza? You should have DoorDash some pizza, Ethan.
I think so.
What the fuck is wrong with you eating frozen
You're right.
pizza?
I should have DoorDashed.
Yeah.
They've got over 300,000 partners. You can support your neighborhood's go-to, or you can be a corporate slave and order from Popeyes, Chipotle, and Cheese Factory. Just kidding. Those are good restaurants. Ordering is easy, and your items will be left safely outside your door when you choose the contactless delivery drop-off. So for a limited time,
Greatest invention of all time.
Ugh.
Skip
COVID at
intro.
least did that for us.
Skip intro, skip outro button on Netflix. Contactless delivery, baby.
You know, COVID did that for us, and I'm so
Yeah.
thankful. Our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more. That's free food. You never get that. When you download the DoorDash app and enter the code LEFTOVERS, that's 25% off up to a $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code LEFTOVERS. Don't forget, that's code LEFTOVERS for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to a change and terms apply. Thank you to DoorDash. All right. So, yeah, so I want to talk first about the details that have kind of come out about the police failure to respond and really just proving the utter lie that is the good guy with gun theory. I mean, but that's basically, these colors run away, yes. These colors don't run after a shooter who's killing our kids.
I don't understand, Ethan. I thought police were a necessary group of heroic men that constantly put themselves, their lives in
They're heroes.
danger. It's like
Well, that's what they want us to believe.
these liars always tell us on television that it's only like the 17th most dangerous profession. I mean, Amy Klobuchar came out and said this was one of the most deadly years for police, and that we should have a national police week
Oh, God.
to honor our boys in the
Pulling
blue.
that up. Yeah, she said some. She said there's been like 550 police deaths this year. Incredible, but she failed.
400 of those are COVID.
444, I think it was,
Yeah.
died from COVID, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's crazy that you know, we're honoring our boys in the blue on National Police Week, and then this happens. Oh man.
You know, I said, let's watch this video first just to give you guys context. So this came out last night. This is a video that somebody shot outside the school. This has been confirmed. Okay, so we know the shooter arrived. He was in there for an hour. This is 20 minutes after he arrived. So this is well before the end of this incident. There's an active shooter in the building with slaughtering children, okay? And you can see as the scene, it is very disturbing.
Yeah,
there's
trigger warning.
there's nothing graphic, but obviously there's people in despair, and it is very upsetting. But I think it's important to see what actually happened out there. So let's watch it.
What I want to point out right there, and you can see it clearly, is that one of the parents actually is being apprehended.
Yeah, right here.
So they're using their power to establish a perimeter. In a lot of instances, like firefighters do this as well, to protect civilians. But these parents are so agitated with the lack of response from cops that they are trying to desperately get in.
So a cop, instead of going after the shooter, has subdued a parent who's so desperate to help his kid. You can also see that one of the officers is holding a taser ready to control the parents. Was it did I miss the taser? 'Cause I remember seeing it when the dude was on the ground.
I believe it's the one that's standing to the right of the guy on the ground. At a certain point, you can see the yellow taser.
There it is. Yeah. So this officer has his taser ready to shoot
Good thing.
the parent.
It's not enough. He should have had his full gun out, I think. It's, you know.
And so, mind you, look at all these police. There is an active shooter. He's going to be in there for another 40 minutes after this video shot, slaughtering children. Okay? I'm supposed to kiss these people's boots. They had time to set up like caution tape and stuff. It's still an active scene. Look how many of them are there. And the parents are begging them.
You can hear the parents, according to the Associated Press report on this matter, by the way, you can hear the parents in this video as well basically say, like, we should just rush in because they're not doing their job. Now, this is a chaotic situation. There could be confusion. The BORTAC units could have actually moved in at this point into the school, or it could be in the beginning. I'm not entirely certain.
No, we looked at the timestamp. This is 20 minutes in.
Oh, this is 20 minutes in. Okay.
This is known. There's 40 minutes left.
And remember, for those of you who don't know the details, that this kid, this 18-year-old freak, basically admitted to a couple people, like 2 different people, as far as we know, that he was, in the process of either like shooting his grandmother or, sent cryptic messages about like potentially doing something crazy with his guns. He was posting his guns on social media. His grandmother, from what I understand, whose condition is currently unknown. Now that might have changed in this time frame that I'm reporting on this, but his grandmother got shot, was able to still call 911. Multiple other people called 911 when he was like basically driving his pickup truck like a crazy person, and cops actually engaged in a brief shootout according to their reporting. Okay, and this is very inconsistent. The reason why I'm stating this is because cops lie all the time on the job. There's a term for it. They call it test-a-lying. And that's part of the reason why, like, there's so much inconsistency with what we immediately found out versus, like, what we found out that night versus what they're trying to do as they recover their image in this circumstance. But 2 cops engage with the shooter, and then basically he bailed on his pickup after he drove it into a ditch and got out of his pickup. He had a long barrel rifle on him, and there's a video that you can see where you can see him like entering the school, and 2 cops engaged with him. Apparently, they shot at him, according to them, but unfortunately, they claimed that he had a plate carrier on, and therefore their bullets did not work. Cops were shot back at as well by the kid, by the psycho. And then they also came out and said that he actually was just simply wearing a plate carrier, but no plates in the plate carrier itself. So they just basically were not able to shoot him down.
Basically, the cops are fucking cowards. They cowered away from shots and allowed him. These are the good guys with guns. He was intercepted, okay, before he even went into the school, right?
Yeah.
This thing could have been stopped. These kids could all be alive right now. And, I'm not courageous, and I'm also not a cop. That I'm not a cop?
I think you'd probably be a better cop than most of these fucking freaks. At least, like, listen, you might not be the bravest person. You might not.
Hold on, son.
I didn't mean it as an insult. I just meant I thank God you're not a cop because we don't like cops here.
All I'm saying is, you might not be the bravest person, but like ultimately, I don't think you would be. You probably want to de-escalate more than like escalate. But who knows? After that kind of like kill first, mag dump warrior training that they undergo, you might become that way as well.
We're expected to worship these men as heroes. They're infallible, unquestionable. And mostly, it really just proves that this good guy with the gun thing is absolute fucking bullshit.
While they were DNA testing the pile of child corpses, cops were already on their fucking W tour on Fox News, getting venerated, getting celebrated.
Oh yeah, everyone was saying about that's awesome. Yeah, Greg Abbott, all the police. This could have been worse. He had the ball. He actually had the fucking gall to say this could have been worse.
What if he had?
I said how? I said how could it be worse? You sat outside for an hour. Hey, he had free reign over that school.
This is the one instance where universally every single person understands, recognizes that like police are a necessity. Some form of like policing is a necessity. This is the one universal instance where like everyone is like, be murderous, be violent. This is your opportunity to be violent. Okay.
Right.
You are supposed to be a murderous, violent.
You get to be a hero.
Force
You
here.
get to LARP today.
Yes.
Or it's not
And-
even a LARP today.
And yes, throw your body at the fucking problem. Like when people say like, oh my God, what do you want? Like these guys aren't John Wick. Like
You tell me all
they're,
the
like, trying
time
to
how
defend
dangerous.
cops in this situation. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like why are they around then?
You
This is the
signed
job.
up. You walk around with tactical weapons and armor, and you guys love this hero persona. So, what the fuck? Go in there.
You can't have it both ways. You can't
No.
simultaneously be like, I'm a fucking, I'm a warrior, sheepdog, herding the sheep and like protecting them from the, wolves that are coming.
Tough men make
To just like
weak people
wetting your fucking diapers is like there's an instance where you got shot back at, and you cower in fear as you call for like a special weapons and tactics team, which, the average cop is basically equipped like a SWAT person anyway.
Oh yeah.
Like they pull that shit out on traffic stops. I've had AR-15s pulled up on me. Okay, like even in situations where there wasn't a special weapons and tactics team there. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's a very unpleasant experience. Okay, you fuck cops, but what's up? Like you can't actually shoot this person the one time when you're supposed to.
Go in there and fucking die if you need to. Okay?
100%,
You're at a
100%.
kindergarten. That's your job.
And you're a hero if you
Let's
do that.
be
and I
the
will celebrate
hero.
it.
You know. And so, but like obviously, these cops are cowards. We need a full investigation. We need something to happen. People need to be accountable.
Notoriously, police, when they investigate themselves, they always yield
Well,
great results.
if there's a lot of public outrage, we might get something more interesting done. But mostly, it just disproves the talking point that you hear all the fucking time is that the answer to this is that we need more guns in the classroom. We need more good guys with guns. Well, here you had two highly trained police officers engaging an 18-year-old kid who literally just bought guns 3 months ago, has no training, and he thwarted two highly trained officers and went in unchecked.
Yeah.
Now, the video we watched, the parents were begging the police to do something. Here is a write-up of some of the statements that was going on there, because it's kind of hard to listen into the video. Officers from the Uvalde Police Department arrived. There was more shooting, and the officers were wounded, though their officials have said repeatedly that they just sustained minor injuries. Yeah, there was a report that one of them got shot, and then they didn't get shot. It's like they didn't even get hurt, bro. Go in there, go in there. Nearby women shouted at the officers soon after the attack began. Juan Carranza, 24, who saw the scene from outside his house across the street from Robb Elementary School in the close-knit town of Uvalde. He said the officers did not go in.
They didn't.
And then Javier, whose fourth-grade daughter was killed in the attack, said he raced to the school when he heard about the shooting. He arrived while police were still gathering outside the building. Upset that the police were not moving in, he raised the idea of charging into the school with several other bystanders. Let's just rush in because the cops aren't doing anything like they're supposed to, he said.
Yeah. I understand that there needs to be some form of policing, no matter what, but policing in this country is fundamentally broken, and this is yet another gigantic expose on how fundamentally broken it is. It's all paper tiger shit. They love unloading. They love mag dumping into like random unarmed black people that are running away from them. They love mag dumping into a person that they've apprehended.
That's why we do it.
Yeah, they have to do that, but they can't do it when there's actual pushback. They can't do it when their lives are actually on the line, when they are supposed to do it. Theoretically speaking, that's what their job is, right? They love talking about that, but it doesn't happen.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. You want to be the hero, and then you act like a coward.
Let me give you some more facts about Uvalde, by the way. Small town. It's a border town. That's why there's a lot of border patrol there. Okay. And their school, the elementary school that we're talking about, is 92% Hispanic. So to get a sense of this community and how funding has worked so far, 40% of the entire town's budget goes to the police force. So they get like 10 million overall, and 4 million of that goes to the police force. They even got an additional they got an additional $500,000 grant from Governor Greg Abbott. They had goals to like purchase even more more vehicles for the police force, MRAPs. They had them, as you saw. I mean, these are like army surplus gear.
40%.
They're
of the
rocking army
state's
surplus
budget.
gear, looking like they're doing an escape from Tarkov mission, and they can't fucking apprehend a kid. They can't shoot down a kid.
I mean, what a waste of money. I mean,
It is.
This is like this is America in a nutshell. We waste the amount of money we spend on the military, the amount of money we spend on the police. It's part of this whole fetishization of authority, aka fascism. This fetishism of weapons. This is their valiant SWAT team, by the
Yeah.
way. This small city of 13,000 spends 40% of their budget
Yeah.
on these tough guys who nobody did a damn fucking thing. So why are we spending 40% of a budget on a police force? Let's invest in people, okay? Fuck these jokers.
By the way,
fuck
you're-
them all, and fuck the institution that creates this shit. Fuck you, fake ass heroic fuck.
No, all they do is do asset forfeitures, harass people, threaten people on a daily basis.
I read an anecdote that the SWAT team, that same one, was going through the town touring schools and cities to get. They're like, we just want to get familiar. You got that article? They just before the shooting, they were touring the school.
Yeah.
That was good.
I mean, the school has like every school in Texas also has like designated officers to said school as well. Like this school had one as well. So like
designated.
so remember like this notion that like we need a good guy with a gun is eviscerated in the circumstance, which is why you see Republicans floundering and like looking for new reasons to point to, because they will never point to the actual main reason, how easily accessible guns are. And also
mental health.
Even mental health. Like other countries have mental health problems.
A lot of issues.
Other countries have mental health problems. Why are they not doing that? You know what I mean?
Totally.
Why is that not happening in European countries?
There aren't many countries that have as little support for the mentally ill
That's true.
as America. I'll say that that's a stiff
Absolutely
competition.
true.
Yeah.
And there's so much social alienation. There's so much isolation.
Right.
People are hurting. They're not doing all right. I read on the background of the kid himself, like he was bullied. It's not a justification, obviously, but
look, he's
time
mentally
and time
ill.
Again, but time and time again, multiple studies have been conducted on this, and one of the things that people always point to is that instead of making schools hard targets, we actually have to soften our education system and put more funds into mental health care, like after-school programs that demonstrably have been successful at like curbing back gun violence in places like Chicago and certainly in this community as well. But it's an underfunded community because it's predominantly Latino. And they're not getting the support.
The conservatives are right. There's no way to prevent this when someone's bound to do it. That's what you need to. You can't stop it. That's why you need to prevent it, right?
Yes.
And it's just cultish behavior. I mean, their solutions are fucking. You have to look at. There was another detail that came out last night that honestly had me on the verge of tears. Listen to this.
Yeah, I
I'm
saw
just
that.
so. It's just, bro. I'm kind of. It just leaves you speechless. When the cops came, this is one of the kids, by the way, who was hiding under a table. I
A
read the
fourth
whole
grader.
book. A fourth grader went under a table with 3 of his friends, and the table had a tablecloth, and they were just hiding under there. A fourth grader. I mean, this is a pure, beautiful child. Okay, literally innocent. Listen to all this happen. When the cops came, the cops said, "Yell if you need help." The cops said, "These highly trained fucking heroes." One of the persons in my class said, "Help." The guy overheard, and he came in and shot her. The boy said. The cop barged into the classroom. The guy shot at the cop, and the cop started shooting. This little girl trusted this officer to help. She trusted him. She trusted the authority, and he fucking got this little girl murdered, who would be alive now. This cop did that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. Then
I mean, just
it's
fucking
like,
put yourself. This little girl, she trusted him.
yeah, there were
Yell if you need help.
there were multiple points of failure in how this horrific situation came to be, and those points of failure are obviously at the tip of the spear the police that could not apprehend this person, could not, put him down, could not stop him from entering the school.
They
And
enabled him.
basically, instead of throwing their bodies at the problem, allowed. They basically said our lives are more important than the fucking 19 kids and the 3 adults that were in the school that actually were throwing their bodies.
That girl literally was a human shield for him.
Yeah, and that's insane. That is completely insane. This is the one fucking job that you're supposed to do. This and like solving crimes, and cops are just so bad at both of those things. It is mind-boggling. I get it's a tough job. It is a necessary job, okay? But policing as an institution in this country is fundamentally broken. Historically, it has always worked to protect and serve the interests of capital rather than the interests of the citizens. Something has to change, and yet the Democratic Party is not doing anything. The Republican Party certainly is not going to do anything. The Democratic Party has been running on like, oh no, we need to give the cops more weapons and more guns. Actually,
I think this
telling people
proves
to
that's
use
not true.
Just last week, Joe Biden came out and said, use some of the surplus COVID funds that we sent you for the police. Like, give them more, money for overtime and whatnot. Which is ironic considering all states including California, were already doing that. Like, they've been adequately funded. They are the only adequately funded entity in every fucking city. So if you are wondering, if you're out there and you're in Kansas, you're in Kentucky, if you're in Mississippi, or New York, California, if you're wondering like, why do I have fucking potholes? Like, don't we have enough in the state of California? $88 billion surplus. Why do we still have a gigantic problem with homelessness? Like, how are there people just like dying in the streets in the wealthiest country on earth throughout time, the wealthiest nation throughout history? The reason is because a gigantic part of the budgets go directly into the pockets of the police force that has been heavily militarized and has been babied up until this moment, and nothing is going to change on that either. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't believe that anyone is going to change their attitude and be like, yeah, maybe we really do need to make sure that these guys are fucking like,
held accountable,
brave or like held
to the
accountable.
least bit.
Yeah, held accountable on the front where they where they pop off and shoot unarmed citizens.
Dude, they have almost unlimited power, these people. They have unlimited authority. Okay, that shit needs oversight. That shit needs scrutiny.
Yeah.
Right now, the cops are these untouchable, inscrutable. We have to worship them. We have to kiss their fucking boots, okay?
It's disgusting.
And frankly, what this whole incident exposed is what a waste of money we're spending on all these cops. There was like, outside, how many cops were there? Stopping the parents, not doing anything. How many cops were there?
Yeah, establishing a perimeter
We're
instead
wasting our fucking money instead of investing in people to prevent this shit from happening, and it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, it's been known since fucking ancient Greece that that socioeconomic conditions are what creates crime.
Yeah.
Like, people engage in violent criminal actions as a consequence of their conditions.
They're desperate. That's why people do crazy shit.
Or people do stuff like this when they, completely lose it because, again, they've been forgotten, they've been pushed behind, they feel a sense of isolation. This obviously does not absolve the shooter in any meaningful capacity. We all feel this way without, like, losing it. But it's such a powder keg in America that, like, we have all this mental health, we have all these mental health problems, no adequate funding towards any of those measures either. So fuck every Republican and even some Democrats that say like, oh, it's a mental health issue as well.
What are you doing about it?
And then refuse to fund mental health initiatives or refuse to push for red flag laws. Refuse to fucking refuse to basically engage in like psych evaluations, any kind of psych evaluations before purchasing a weapon whatsoever, and then we just move on because we forget. And Sandy Hook was, the defining moment, I think, in this chapter of the American empire crumbling, when you saw not just Latino children, but white kids get shot up, and the entire country play the song and dance over and over again with no adequate gun regulation that came after that. I was like, it's over.
Well, Sandy Hook, it's like, shame on me. Or one time shame on you, 2 times shame on me. If this happens again, and it's probably going to happen again, where someone goes to a school for children and kills innocent.
There was a kid that got caught with an AK-47 outside of a school in another school in Texas, like the next day.
When this happens again, and more children are killed in the same way, and we as a country have not found the courage to do anything, I truly believe that all is lost at that point.
I mean, it is. It is already lost. Like we're in a horrible situation across the board. Civil liberties are getting taken away, and the Republican Party has completely dropped even using Congress as the legislative branch. They completely sidestep Congress, use the heavily gerrymandered districts and the state legislature to, enact their will. And then when any of the courts actually try to say, hey, this is unconstitutional, they can go all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they're actually banking on taking these issues all the way up to the Supreme Court, which is stacked.
These people on the Supreme Court are literally members of this cult we're talking about.
Yeah, and they are incredibly successful. The Republican Party has been incredibly successful in completely undermining the supposedly infallible institutions, while crying about random things that are completely inconsequential, and successfully deflecting away the attention from the main reason, which is why I say this is a multifaceted problem, but America is only making it worse. Easily accessible guns, paired up with a lot of mental health problems, paired up with a lot of social alienation, and a lack of spending in any of the social safety nets. Of course you're going to have this. It's the most predictable thing, and that's why it happens the most in this.
We were doing calculations. School shootings, not mass shootings, because there's been almost 300 already this year. Just school shootings happen so far this year 5.5 times per month, bro. That's more. That's more than once a week.
Number 2 in school shootings is Mexico.
What's six?
No,
that's
state.
mass shootings.
That's mass shootings.
They have 6 mass shootings. I don't know if they've ever had a school shooting.
Yeah.
But you guys, this is so important. You have to fucking care about this stuff, and the least thing, all you have to do, is go fucking vote. Okay? You have to look at these politicians that are taking money from the NRA, people who are a part of this gun cult fetish, and you can love guns without being a part of this fucking, you have no sense about it. It's just common sense. You have to vote. This shit matters. There's elections happening right now, okay? Huge elections. In every state, we're going into it. Young people need to care. Just vote.
Yeah.
Get the ballot. It takes 30 minutes. You can do some research. Go to a newspaper or something that you like and respect. See who they recommend. Look who's got the best policy on gun control. If people, even with all the gerrymandering, and all the corruption and all the fucking, it's stacked against you, you can't be apathetic anymore, because we're gonna lose it all, right? You can't be apathetic.
I advocate to vote as well, but I do think that you need to engage in direct action and organize locally and run locally for office as well. There's plenty of brilliant socialist, left-leaning, actually like-minded
There's
individuals.
no better time to be a progressive.
Yeah, running for local office. But then you also have the Democratic Party that turned around and actually defended Jim Clyburn and Nancy Pelosi and numerous other Democratic Party leaders. Literally defended Henry Cuellar in Texas 28th. Henry Cuellar is a NRA-backed Democrat.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
They literally did that, and he might actually end up taking his 10th term in that district now against Jessica Cisneros by 177 votes. So there are times when your voice does matter.
It always matters, dude. It always matters. Dude, the younger generation, if we got more active and less apathetic and just fucking came out in the same numbers that these old fucks who need to die already come out, old fucking pieces of shit, they vote in insane numbers, okay? Young people need to give a fuck. It's time to stop the apathy. Don't let your friends and family who go, I don't vote, I don't care about it. Don't let them off the hook, man.
Hey.
I think I have a different approach to this though, ultimately, than you do. I do understand it's the least significant, most important thing you can do.
So
I'm
easy.
giving her plenty of love.
But the other issue is that like
My
there is
girly.
a +6 disparity in the Senate. Democrats have to, in order to get like a filibuster-proof majority of 60 senators in this country, they need like at least 3 election cycles where they get +16 points. Like they need to get 16% more votes than the Republican Party to actually reach a majority. The Republican Party, because the system is so
girl.
unequal and designed in a way that you know that avoids the tyranny of the majority, which is just fucking democracy.
Look, I don't want to discourage people from voting.
No, I think people should vote. But if you feel
you have to, you have to.
I
You have
agree.
to.
But if you feel powerless, I understand why you feel powerless, which is why I also
You
am
still
urging
have to
people to
vote.
still organize locally. It is fundamental to the short, or not short, sorry, the long, incremental struggle towards the powers that completely control every facet of our lives. If you want to actually pressure the Democratic Party to do the fucking right thing, you're going to need to organize outside of just like, you know, voting for your Democratic representatives. You need to create a structure where you have some semblance of labor power, for example, to bully the Democratic representatives and the Democratic politicians, the Democratic Party into action, because it's so clear to me that they are not going to take the necessary steps. They're going to posture. They're going to say, oh man, this is so difficult. This is so bad. How dare you? And then they're going to turn around and say, why can't the Republicans do the right thing? Motherfucker, what about you? I've never heard Mitch McConnell be like, when Mitch McConnell's trying to pass like a let's murder trans children bill, you know what I mean? I've never heard him turn around and be like, these Democrats are not doing the right thing. Just like help us murder trans people.
Right,
Like that's not happening, because they get it done. They do what they need to do, even if it's completely sidestepping Congress, even if it's completely packing the court system. They get shit done, and they give back to their base. They listen to their base and they give back to their base. Democrats, on the other hand, ignore the cries of help in their base and then do the surprise Pikachu face when people are like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, this is not helping.
Fuck
It
the
still
Democrats,
helps.
bro.
It still helps.
When
but
progressives run, they win. Even like this Jessica, what's her name?
Jessica Cisneros.
Look how close she got to winning against the whole establishment of the Democratic Party. I'm just saying, progressives are winning. You run, and we fucking vote for you. And fuck the Democrats.
Yeah. Obviously, like, they're still, you know, ultimately they're still significantly better than the Republican Party by not being like vulturous monsters. But again, their ineptitude and their inaction must not go, must not be unaddressed. Okay, I'm sick and tired of like these motherfuckers getting away with just simply saying, "Look how bad the other side is." They are so fucking thirsty. Like they're like, "Oh, thank God the Republicans and the Supreme Court is overturning Roe v. Wade, so now we can just like pump, campaign fundraisers and you know send Hassan a million fucking emails asking for money again." It's disgusting to me, and they're doing it with this as well. Do anything, okay? Do something about it. If you want our votes, you have to do something about this. You have to
Well,
do
they know
anything.
there's no one else to vote for.
They're not
'cause
gonna they're not even abolishing the filibuster. That's like
Fuck
one
up.
way. That's
It's like-
one way that they
It's
could.
like, who are you gonna vote for? Fucking fascists? No.
Yeah, exactly. But that is the main
But you're right,
reason why
yeah.
there's so much apathy. That is the reason why the plurality in this country simply does not vote for either party. That is not an accident. That is because of the Democratic Party's gross, and I would go so far as to say criminal negligence and ineptitude, their feckless behavior that is, I think, by design, to operate like the controlled opposition party that simply just sits back and relies on the Republicans going crazy to fundraise and then scrounge up like electoral victories.
I'm a
In a
cat.
system that is completely designed against majority
I'm
control anyway.
I'm actually a cat.
They have been,
Okay, who
the
says
Republican Party has been
meow?
effectively dismantling these institutions while the Democratic Party sits behind and says, we're institutionalists. These institutions are infallible. Why can't we have a strong Republican Party, like a smart Republican Party? It's like, why would they, bitch? Why the fuck would they change what they've been doing if they've been so successful at, at creeping towards fascism in this country?
Just a little background. There's 120 guns per 100 people in this country.
Yeah.
That's got to be like 400 million guns. 88% of people on a recent poll said they support background checks on all gun sales. There's a bill going through that passed the House, going to the Senate, and it's probably going to get held up there and not passed.
Yeah.
But 88% of the people support the most basic of all gun control, which is a background check on all gun sales, so a 13-year-old can't go buy a rifle at a gun show.
Joe Manchin himself has like talked about how even though he's like one of the bipartisan saviors in this situation, right? Joe Manchin, he's like the reasonable guy, who is of course expressly against the filibuster or even like modifying filibuster. He's a fucking crook piece of shit. But he has said that like he's for universal background checks, but maybe not for private purchases. Like, okay, then fuck it. Like, no background check. Who cares? You know what I mean? It's psychotic. And the reason why he says that is because, again, the NRA has very successfully changed the attitude of Americans over the course of the past 30, 40 years into believing that, like, this is a core part of their identity. And they have nothing else, so, you know, they'll fight for this. There's so many single-issue voters that just simply vote for the Republican Party because they love guns, and they think, like, the Democratic Party's boogeyman. Like, someone like Beto O'Rourke is going to come knock on your door and steal your guns from you.
Stupid, too. Like, they're such absolutists. It's like, nobody's trying to take every gun in America, you fucking moron. Literally, we're asking for the most basic, the most common sense. You fucking clowns can't even make the smallest concession on your dumb fucking toys. Look at this. Guns are now, this is of 2002, okay?
Oh, yeah.
This has only gotten wider this year especially, right?
Yeah.
Guns are the leading cause of childhood deaths. In 2020, firearm-related injury passed motor vehicle crashes for the leading cause of childhood deaths.
You want to know
yet
why?
Nobody wants to do anything.
You want to know why? Well, obviously because like there's a lot of guns and people are not keeping them safe, and kids are accidentally shooting themselves in the fucking face and stuff. But you want to know why, for example, motor vehicle crash accidents have greatly diminished? Regulation. That's precisely why. That is the reason, because they have stricter safety regulation around like child seats and how and what cars need to do in order to have children.
How many
in the
lives
car.
they saved since 2000?
Yeah.
Look, they lowered the car deaths in half. I mean, that's pretty
Crazy.
incredible. And
There's car
meanwhile,
control, and it fucking works. It works.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe we should do gun control as well.
Meanwhile,
especially when
look at
considering that a
this.
car is fundamentally a tool that you need to go to work. You can't
Abolish
ride your
the
fucking
DMV,
AR-15.
bro.
You can't ride your AR-15 to work.
yeah.
You know, it's just all of the arguments
Abolish
that
the
gun
DMV.
nuts, all the arguments that gun nuts launch in defense of guns is stupid. It's incredibly easily
it's
dismissive.
beyond stupid. It's like cult talk.
Yeah.
Like, you can only believe something so nonsensical of a notion as we need more guns in schools to stop this happening. You have to be like brainwashed. You have to actually be fucking part of a cult to believe that.
Yeah,
Everyone in the world looks at that and says, these people are fucking insane, and they're right.
Yeah. New Zealand has a really interesting approach to this, by the way. For example, in New Zealand, there are 5 million people, but 1.5 million guns in circulation. You know, there's hunting culture and whatnot. And one of the things that they do in New Zealand is, like, you need a character review, basically. You need 3 people from your life to vouch for you.
That's fucking interesting.
Along with, like, mental evaluation.
A lot of these school shooters, people be like, hell no.
I mean, that's a great first step. Or a national gun registry, which people consider to be fascist and tyrannical.
It's awesome.
Just like the DMV. Put a DMV for guns. I'm not against shooting guns.
Right?
I love shooting guns. I've shot all matter of different guns. I've shot Dracos. I've shot automatic shotguns. Okay, I'm a fan of shooting guns at the gun range.
This isn't happening in a vacuum. Kids are being killed every fucking year. Like, y'all got to, you got to concede. It's time to concede. Look at this.
Yeah.
All these mass shootings, AR-15. You guys, it's time to fucking concede. Okay? Stop it.
It's just, look, the worst part about this is that it quite literally is the way that we, like, write, piecemeal legislation around guns to, like, you know, abolish the pistol grip, for example, in the state of California. You can't use a pistol grip AR-15 if you have a long barrel rifle. Like, all of those things are just annoying for the most part. Okay, when the main issue at hand is that there are too many guns in circulation, and there's too many guns in the streets in general. We need to do buyback programs. We need to there are things that we can do immediately that would help. Stopping the manufacturing of new weapons is a good one. We already have this arbitrary distinction that we apply that no gun freak actually turns around and says is inappropriate. Automatic weapons. Automatic weapons are impossible to acquire nearly as a civilian. You need to pay a fuckload of money in taxes. There's like a big burden there to even be able to purchase an automatic rifle. And on top of that, there are not that many automatic rifles in civilian circulation, and people still get their hands on it, obviously. But there's a reason why you don't see it too much. There's a reason why you don't. It's not like the main weapon used, the weapon of choice in these kinds of school shootings and these kind of actions, these kind of instances, because it's hard to come by. That's an arbitrary distinction, but that actually technically violates the Second Amendment. But everybody understands it, and we've had long barrel rifle bans in the past, and even then it was an arbitrary distinction because people will always say well, what's the difference between an AR-15 and a pistol? I don't understand. You could technically make an AR-15 out of a pistol.
Well,
you guys
hold
are
on.
so stupid. Doesn't matter.
Well, hold on.
Legislate that away as well.
People say that, and then I say, well, these guys understood the difference.
AR-15 is low recoil. It's billed as a weapon that you can actually have children and women shoot. I like shooting AR-15s. I know how easy it is to shoot an AR-15. It's significantly easier to shoot than a handgun. Most people don't realize that.
Semi-automatic.
It's a semi-automatic long barrel rifle.
Fast as fuck, dude.
Yeah, and the Las Vegas one also had a bub stock too, which is like using the recoil to turn a semi-automatic weapon into an automatic weapon. But ultimately, you need to be able to demonstrate competence, have people vouch for you, have a mental or psych evaluation before you are able to handle a gun like AR-15. You need to also demonstrate proper safety protocols, and also register not only your weapon, but have a gun license basically. These are super understandable and super common sense gun laws that
that's amazing.
We should have
basically stopped. I feel like that would stop a lot of the gun violence we see in schools. Basically,
it would make it harder. It would make it harder for people to be able to easily acquire weapons.
But that's too much. That's too much.
But it's inconveniencing, and that is what the heart of the problem is. People that love guns do not want to be inconvenienced with these kinds of things, so they turn around and act like, oh, this is tyrannical. That the government is, I don't want to give the government my information. Bitch, you already do that. You do that every day. You do that for the DMV for your license. Why not for the gun?
Security number, fucking DMV, credit cards,
and then
bills.
The other incredibly annoying thing, again, I'm just going off the top of my head with all the common pro-gun arguments.
By the way, don't say it's technically against the Second Amendment, because it's not. The Second Amendment doesn't protect your right to fucking anything.
It's against their interpretation of the Second Amendment.
That's better.
That's what I mean. It's against their interpretation.
That's plays into their thing. The Second Amendment doesn't guarantee shit.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a well-regulated militia, which your ass is not.
Yeah. Another thing that people will use is this is just stopping law-abiding citizens from being able to get guns easily. Illegal guns will still be in circulation. Of course it will be. But the point is to make it as hard as possible to get a fucking gun so that people all of these fucking shooters that some of them used guns that they acquired legally, some of them that use guns that they acquired illegally, would not be able to use these guns. Okay, it would make it much harder for them to be able to do this. And for those of you who say, oh man, what about Chicago, or what about what about places where there's strict gun laws? Chicago is not a fucking island completely removed from states where you can easily acquire weapons. Every single gun that you see used illegally that was purchased through straw purchases or through the black market was originally a legal gun. Guns do not
100%.
Grow on fucking trees.
They all come
you
in
can
from
easily go to Idaho, get a gun, and then go back into Illinois. Okay,
what happens?
There's no border checkpoint. They're not looking to see if you're buying guns illegally. And that's precisely why in Chicago, which Republicans racistly love to fucking point to and be like, oh, look at black on black crime, focus on that, when they don't give a shit about it, or act like black people don't give a shit about it when they clearly do, which is super racist anyway. But when you look at Chicago, the overwhelming majority of those guns are coming in from other states where it's legal to purchase. This is something that we need to tackle and dismantle at the federal level. And I'm sick and tired of Republicans acting like it's not a big deal. I'm sick and tired of the Democratic Party who then turn around and cry on the bully pulpit, but then turn around and not do anything about it.
The one thing that I hear too is like, there's no point, and you hear this all the time, there's no point in outlawing rifles. Criminals are going to find a way to get it anyway. Really, bitch? Then why the fuck did he wait till he was 18 to do this?
I mean, in this instance,
he didn't buy the fucking rifles until he was 18. You know why? Because they were illegal to obtain, you fuck.
In this
moron.
instance, yes, but there are instances where they like get it illegally too. There's ghost guns. It doesn't matter. You cannot talk about how difficult it is going to be to solve a problem, and to use that as a reason for just no legislation whatsoever. You can't say like, oh well, fucking people are still murdering even though murder is illegal. Let's abolish the fucking law that says that criminalizes murder. You can't do that. That's insane, right? There's no other instance.
Yeah, it's like saying, well, there's no point in outlawing murder. People are still going to murder.
Yeah, it's insane, but people still advance that argument. The Attorney General Ken Paxton in Texas quite literally said that. He basically said like, well, these people are violating the murder law. Why would they even follow the gun law? Well, bitch, they did. And it's not about like completely eliminating gun violence, okay? It's not. You are never going to be able to completely eliminate gun violence, especially in a country whose culture is so violent, especially in a country where there's so many guns in circulation. The point is to try to minimize it. That is why we put fucking laws in the books. That's it. You're never going to make it zero gun violence, okay? It's not going to happen. Other countries have been able to do it. We can't do it. We're too far gone. But let's try to, at the very least, make sure that more babies are not fucking being murdered at schools. Like it's just mind-boggling to me.
They go, well, that's not going to work. It's like, well, have you tried it?
No,
that's not going to work. Well, why don't we? No. Anyway, here's Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, who has the fucking audacity. This man is a fucking demon to say it. He says it could have been worse. Yeah, let's listen.
As horrible as what happened, it could have been worse.
Oh yeah.
The reason it was not worse is because law enforcement officials did what they do.
Yeah, you going to help.
They did. I mean, he's right. They did. They just sat there and fucking tased like parents and shit that were trying to storm the fucking the school and do what these cops were too cowardly to do.
This guy's going to hell. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
it could have been worse. Can you imagine saying that? Is that supposed to comfort? First of all, what a horrible thing to say, like to comfort the parents. It could have been worse. Fuck how? He was in there for an hour. He killed 22 people, slaughtered 19 children, bitch. How the fuck could that have been worse?
I mean, he could have killed 100 children, Ethan, if you thought about that. No, get fucked.
Everything could technically always be worse, okay? Yeah. What kind of fucking consolation is that? You pathetic freak, you demon in a fucking human's flesh.
Oh, he was, by the way, while the shooting was happening, he was 300 miles away fundraising.
Yeah.
Actually,
so yeah, I think the timeline was the shooting broke, and then 3 hours later he was at a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And I forget who tweeted this, but it was very good. They said he was counting money when they were counting bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun fact there. Fun little fact. Look, if you're in Texas, if you're even like slightly conservative, and you're like, oh, look at these two libtard cucks talking about guns, they want to take my guns away. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, stop getting fucking cucked by Greg Abbott, Ted Cruz.
We don't want to take your guns away, man.
These people are awful, okay? They're horrible. They don't give a shit about you. You are so cucked to vote for a Republican. Just don't vote. If you are living in Texas and you're a Republican, just don't fucking vote, dude. Just have some honor, some dignity. Talk about how fucking everything's bigger in Texas, and then you go and you vote for these fucking clowns, dude. They're like worse than the fucking Democrats. How are you gonna be worse than Beto O'Rourke, dude? Beto O'Rourke is a fucking such a nerd. He's such a goober, and yet for some reason Ted Cruz still is the worst person in Texas. How are you gonna fucking be like, I'm a big Texan man, yee, and then turn around and vote for fucking a melted candle wax of a human being, barely a human.
I can't believe the fact that Texas has voted Ted Cruz time and time again is really shakes your faith in humanity. That man is, he's a homunculus. I mean, he's not human.
Yeah, he's a fucking hobgoblin.
He's literally here to destroy humanity. Now, just imagine that your governor was at a fucking expensive, nice fundraising dinner as they were counting the bodies, flipping champagne.
Dude, they're cocks. They're cocks.
Thanking his donors.
They love the fucking booze. They're like, look, the other side is much worse. You got, demon Democrats. You got demon rats. They're gonna take our guns away, and they're gonna, trans my sons and daughters. They're gonna do gender stuff to them and teach them Marxism or whatever the fuck the Republicans are telling them.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Republicans are convinced that talking about gay people is more dangerous than people literally killing children.
Yeah, Anna pointed this out too. Like, she was like, "What?
That was Beto O'Rourke, by the way.
You've been fucking calling teachers like pedophile groomers, but then you want to give them guns? Like, what's up? That's a little
Take a fucking lane.
Yeah. So what's up? Are they? Is it better that these supposedly pedophile groomers are fucking armed to the teeth? Is that? It just doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. It is so cruel. It is so stupid. I can't believe we have to even have this conversation over and over again. I'm so tired of it, man. It just it's right there. Like, you can see it with your eyes. If you look at the stats, you will see it. We are the only country. We have comparable mental illness. The prevalence of mental illness is comparable to other OECD nations. Other developed nations have comparable levels of mental illness. They have video games there as well, okay? They have all this other shit that they try to point to and deflect away from in order to avoid the real truth. The only difference in America is the prevalence and ease of access to weapons, okay?
And
specifically
horrible
weapons like
healthcare,
AR-15 that can kill multiple people. And yes, I do know handguns are more violent. Handguns are more dangerous. Technically, you can conceal them, and they are responsible for more deaths. But it doesn't matter. This is one part of the problem that you could actually address. But the only reason why we're not addressing it is because you just don't want to be inconvenienced.
Why don't we
That's the
just
saddest
ban?
part.
Why can't we just ban AR-15s? It's literally the gun of mass shooters. It's like the guns. Most mass shooters, 9 out of 10 mass shooters say the AR-15 is the best weapon to get the job done.
I think the AR-15 is like it's a distraction in many ways, though. Like, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Do that though. Do something.
I think we should stop the circulation immediately of long barrel assault weapons. And if you're gonna turn around and fucking claim like, oh well, they can get around it. Okay, then write more legislation to stop people from getting around it. Like, you can plug loopholes,
Let's do that and then see how they get around it.
Yeah.
Like, let's do something. Let's just not be content with this happening.
But ultimately, as someone who does understand like how easy it is to shoot AR-15, anytime someone says it's a fucking best weapon for home defense or for self-defense, they're lying to you. The NRA knows full well any person who has even a crumb of knowledge about guns, ammunition, anything like that knows absolutely. You will never hear this from a professional person who is an honest person that the AR-15s are good for home defense. They're not. AR-15s are not good for self-defense. They're only good for one thing. It's easy to shoot multiple people with, okay? That's it.
And
unless you have a Colombian death squad,
your neighbors, by the way.
yeah, unless you have a Colombian death squad knocking down your door and they're doing like a fucking line, they're all right behind one another. The AR-15 is not something that you need to use.
People
you
say
use a pistol,
shotguns.
you use a shotgun.
Yeah.
Shotguns and pistols are significantly better for self-defense than an AR-15, unless you want to kill your fucking neighbor.
Yeah, that's it.
On accident.
Yeah. So what else? Oh, Marco Rubio, Lil Rubio, who we love so well. By the way, I want to see what else this gun says.
They showed
So
amazing courage.
I love
by
that.
running
I love how much of his speech he's dedicating to the bravery of police.
toward gunfire
Where did you see
for
that?
the singular purpose of trying to save lives.
Yeah, totally, dude.
It is a fact that because of their quick response, getting on the scene, being able to respond to the gunman and eliminate the gunman, they were able to save lives.
That's incredible. I wish that was true.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
in his fantasy it happened, but like
There'd probably be a lot of kids alive right now.
it's so disgusting. Don't let them get away with this narrative, dude. Do not let them get away with this narrative. Fucking shove it down their
No.
goddamn throats.
Not this time.
No,
Not this time, guys.
no. They always love saying like, oh, we got a good guy. We got a good guy with a gun. We did it. Okay, thank God. Thank God. Oh my
Not
God.
this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're fucking lying, dude.
Bro, you work at fucking McDonald's, you give 18 people food poisoning, you're fired, okay? You get if you're a cop, 19 people die literally on your watch, nothing.
Well,
you're
no,
you're
you
still
get
hailed
promoted
as a fucking
because
hero.
they
It's
have,
insane.
yeah, exactly. They have to go with the hero narrative. So you actually get promoted.
Yeah,
probably.
because they protect capital, and they are seen as the last line of defense when people who are in this volatile situation, people who are in these kinds of predicaments over and over again decide, well, I can't fucking sit around idly and like allow the government to fuck me all the time. And then they take matters in their own hands. And then the cops are the first line of defense. Like the Rodney King riots, for example, in Los Angeles. They will put a fucking protective barrier around Beverly Hills and move the people that are protesting and funnel them through K-Town to have, to have another underprivileged minority, two of these underprivileged, underserved minorities fight one another instead. It's great.
Unfortunately, not enough. But I want to make sure that everybody knows, all of the law enforcement agencies and
Dude,
groups that are involved.
I can't believe how much he's going on about this. Like how much you gonna suck their dick? Let's talk about the families.
And we're involved in this process. The Texas Rangers are leading the investigation, and they are supported by the Texas Department of Public Safety Highway Patrol.
Yeah, you're actually going to hell, dude. So enjoy that.
I wish. There is no. I think we are in hell. Like.
I guess it's still technically true then.
Yeah.
Let's check out what Marco Rubio has to say about this issue here.
But why not just expand the background checks to more commercial sales? Even if it doesn't prevent every tragedy, it could surely prevent some.
No, every commercial sale requires a background check.
Gun shows and internet.
There hasn't been a single of these mass shootings that have been purchased at a gun show.
Hey, dickhead, he already covered that. He already covered that. He said, even if it doesn't prevent, like, even if it's not being used in shootings, like, why not make it a little bit more difficult for people to, like...
How hard is it just to say, you know what? Let's get background checks for people buying guns online and at gun shows.
Yeah, 90%.
Throw a bone, dude.
90% approval rate for universal background checks, by the way. 90%.
Throw a
75% of
fucking bone.
75% of NRA card-carrying members also agree with universal background checks, but the NRA doesn't. And these fucking empty suits, these lizards in fucking suits that operate at the behest of the gun manufacturers
and the constituents
will refuse.
Yeah, and then let me show you the real.
Universal background checks is like broadly. Even gun owners.
Let me
unless
show
they're, like,
you the real reason.
They agree.
That Marco is deflecting the lightest. Do you think 13-year-olds should be able to buy rifles from gun show? Marco's like, yeah, absolutely. Let me show you the real reason here. Of course, the NRA, huge contributor to most of these politicians. Marco Rubio is
3.3
million.
Yeah.
Very generous, actually. So interesting take there.
If we want to do it, we can have that debate, but don't link it to these horrible events because they would have nothing to do with it.
Shut up,
What about
bitch.
getting rid of AR-15s? Why are these
I'm confused.
semi-automatic?
Didn't this shooter buy his gun online?
Yeah.
Yes, he did buy his gun online, but I don't know.
Didn't he just say that these shooters don't get their guns online?
The thing is, I don't know what the.
There was a license.
If it went through a
gun
licensed
purchaser, I think they
dealer,
probably did they probably did like one of those shitty fucking background checks.
It went to a third party who did a.
They do.
I'm surprised they do it because you don't even need a license in Texas. So what kind of background check do they do?
I'm not quite familiar with that.
Rifles necessary.
So if people want to talk about banning specific guns, they should propose that, but it wouldn't prevent
Who's
these
that?
shootings.
Okay, bitch, try it. What do you got, a crystal ball? You fucking.
No, it's just like it's so
Homunculus.
dumb. There is no
You're a
world
demon.
in which like this is the attitude for anything else. Like
You're a demon.
It just completely destroys why we need laws to begin with.
Demon.
We don't need laws for anything. You can't stop crime from happening. Why have laws around it?
Here's Ted Cruz outside Robb Elementary.
You want to talk about how we could have prevented the horror that played out across the street?
God, you can tell he's acting. He doesn't actually feel things. You can tell he's acting.
Trigger warning, Ted Cruz. fucking monster, dude.
Look at so yeah, Ted Cruz is actually a homunculus. He is in the flesh of a human here.
Friend of the show, Ted Cruz.
Why is he a friend of the show?
He knows who I am and has made fun of me.
Oh,
There's
friend of
a
the
friend
show.
of mine who was talking to him and shot a
Ted
video.
Cruz, friend of the show. We love that.
Yeah.
Anyway, just listen to this fucking homunculus talk.
You want to talk about how we could have prevented the horror that played out across the street?
How, Ted?
Look, the killer entered here the same way the killer entered in Santa Fe. Through a back door.
Doors.
An unlocked back door. I sat down at round tables with the families from Santa Fe. We talked about what we need to do to harden schools, including not having unlocked back doors, including not having unlocked doors to classroom, having one door that goes in and out of the school, having armed police officers at that one door. Do you want to talk about how we could have prevented?
That sounds like a bright future.
Yeah, door
for a kid.
control. Door control. That's what we need.
That sounds like a
actually.
utopia.
Did you see
So he's basically suggesting we turn elementary schools into prisons.
Yeah, no, fuck fire code and funnel all the victims, all the potential victims into one single file line, so it makes it easier if the shooter, wants to kill as many people as possible.
But
Great.
yeah, the deflection happening it's predictable, right? It's literally insane. Like,
Bro, they ran out of ideas. In Florida, in the aftermath of the Parkland shooting, they literally were like, let's arm the teachers. And that's what they did. They ended up giving a $500 subsidy to these teachers who have to fucking pay out of pocket for school supplies. They found money to give them $500 subsidies. They bought weapons and trained themselves, right? That was their fucking solution. More guns was the solution in their minds. And that's how dedicated they are. Part of the reason...
How do you believe that, though? How, like to anyone outside of this cult,
they don't.
It's shockingly insane. I mean, it's like saying, it's as crazy as saying there's a alien ship with Haley's Bob comet, and it's gonna fucking take me to the afterlife. I mean, it's that insane.
Yeah, well, first of all, they do believe that. A lot of evangelicals, unironically, do believe that Jesus Christ can come back. What is it? 42% of Americans believe in. More than 50% of Americans believe in angels. 42% of Americans believe that Jesus Christ can come back to planet Earth before 2050 and the rapture will happen.
Okay, fine. There's a lot of Christians. This is like Christians. Okay, whatever. As crazy as you think
there's a lot of crazy people.
Is, okay, like objectively, around the world there's a lot of Christians. So let's just put that aside. No, objectively, if these fucking what was that cult who killed themselves and rode the comet to Valhalla?
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate. We look at them and we say, wow, those guys are objectively insane. That's what these people are to everybody outside this cult.
This is, by the way, this is a well-documented phenomenon as well. If you listen to the daily episode on like parents and how they dealt with the aftermath of Sandy Hook, one of the reasons why this is happening is also the same reason why there's immediate conspiracy theories in the aftermath of elementary school shootings, because it's such a horrifically traumatic event that like basically makes it impossible for people to be like, okay, we can't do any solutions to this. So they turn around and say this is a government psyop. They turn around and say this is actually not real. They did this to make us feel. They did this to make us feel like the government should do something, and that's where those conspiracies come from too. This is just the more moderate, more tempered version of just straight up being like, yeah, that was fake, and those people are all lying. They're government operatives that did it on themselves. It's literally that. It is the same energy that is so powerful in this situation. It's denial. They want to deny it, and when they have exhausted all of the other dumbass fucking counter arguments, they have to get to, well, maybe it was just a government conspiracy to ban guns. That maybe it wasn't real. Maybe it didn't actually happen.
Shout out Alex Jones.
Yeah.
It's awesome how Joe Rogan just like a week ago was like, no, Alex Jones is dope. Like, he actually is right about a lot of things.
I mean, he's right about a lot of things. Why can't he talk about Sandy Hook no more? Why is he so terrified to talk about Sandy Hook? Because he lost that fucking lawsuit. Another lawsuit that was really important is that they were able to sue Remington successfully for $75 million.
That's so good. If we can
in 2005, in 2005, our fucking disgusting creature fucking politicians made it so that gun manufacturers were not held liable in instances of mass shootings like this. They were not held liable. That was a piece of legislation that passed through Congress. They found bipartisan support for it.
That could have made a big difference if the parents could sue these gun manufacturers.
But now they
There's a lot of them, like this guy, the gun he used, Daniel's Defense, has like, you've probably seen these horrific tweets they made.
The kid, yeah, like the little baby.
Like, you can sue them for irresponsible advertising. This is what happened with the tobacco companies, how we got them to stop advertising using cartoon characters and stuff. Like, if you could sue Daniel's defense, this would be pretty interesting fucking evidence, you know what I mean? And,
it's dope. That photo is dope. Like, that's literally the reason why, you know, child gun deaths are the number one
I mean,
cause
we
of death.
analyzed this photo yesterday, but this kid has a rifle with a full magazine. You can see the bullets in it, and the kid doesn't want to play with it, but the dad, look at his finger. He's forcing him. He says, no,
play with my rifle.
You will play with this.
Yeah.
But I'm scared, Daddy. Fuck you, son.
No, that's the worst part. They don't even fucking know yet. They have no idea what that is. That makes it worse. That's the reason why you fucking turn it on your father and shoot him in the face. God, this is just so fucking broken, dude. I like, it's just, that's psychotic. You see it, you understand it, you look at that and you go, well, that's insane. That's an insane person.
Does.
And yet so many people have like completely blinded themselves and have tapped into this like culture, this attitude that actually is sick. That means you're a manly man. That means you want to defend your home and protect yourself and your family. Okay? That's why you need to have it. There are certain places where I totally understand why you need to have a gun. Okay? I get it. If you want to go hunting, you need to have a gun. That's fine. AR-15s are not for that. Everybody knows this, obviously. Like, I understand. I understand why people have guns. If you live in a place where like cops are not going to show up for fucking 50 minutes, you live in bumfuck nowhere, okay? It's okay to like have some kind of protection, like a shotgun or whatnot, okay? But that should still be done through the appropriate measures that stop domestic violence. People who have done domestic violence from having guns, the likelihood that you will use it on someone skyrockets. Which, by the way, 40% of cops immediately would have to be disarmed. For the record, you know what I mean? Just look that data up. That's the last time they did that survey was in the 90s, because cops were dumb enough to be like, yeah, we beat our partners.
Yeah, apparently 40% of cops are domestic abusers.
Yeah. So, and when I say like we need to disarm the population to a certain degree or cut the circulation of guns, at least that are currently in the market, I of course am not. I'm of course talking about cops too. Like, traffic stops do not need a AR-15 kitted out, you know, potato bag coming over and like harassing you and then pulling out his fucking weapon. You don't need to do that. They don't need to have that. Beat cops should not have weapons. They shouldn't. They didn't used to. They don't in other countries. That should not happen either. So demilitarizing the police is also a fundamental part of gun control. Do not misunderstand me. And cops regularly use the guns in circulation as a talking point to justify getting fucking more weapons and more guns, because like everyone could have an AR-15, and they're fucking right.
Only 20. Well, yeah. I mean, 20 cops died last year, or this last year.
Yeah, this in 2022,
like,
20 cops
not
died
really
by
an
gunfire.
epidemic, okay. And by the way, 19 kids died in school shootings.
More than that now. That when I said 19 originally,
So
3 additional.
Being a child in elementary school, you are more likely to be killed by gunfire than a police officer.
No, technically there's only 1 million cops versus 49 million students. So obviously per capita,
per thousand,
per capita, yes, it's still it's still higher. But also from a per capita conversation, roofers are significantly. Roofing is a significantly harder job, or more dangerous job. Landscaping is a significantly more dangerous job. Construction work is a significantly. Delivery drivers have a significantly more dangerous job than fucking cops. And you don't see the thin fucking red line for pizza delivery drivers. You know what I mean?
Well, it's only a matter of time.
You
That marinara sauce matters.
You can't be a landscaper and cut the head off of a fucking person.
I want the Blue Lives Matter flag with a line of marinara sauce.
Yeah, you can't do that, right? Like if a landscaper was like, no, I'm gonna fucking kill this person. And then they turn around and they're like, well, look, our job is really difficult. Okay, sorry. Our job is so dangerous, way more dangerous than cops, so I should be able to kill my fucking clients. No, it doesn't work that way. It's fucking bullshit.
Here is the Texas Attorney General commenting.
Help them. The second, no, we need to continue to try to focus on preventing this. We can't stop bad people from doing bad things. They're going to violate murder laws. They're not going to follow gun laws. I've never understood that argument. But we
you don't understand a lot. I mean, your eyes are fucking like open at different degrees. You're barely fucking awake, man.
Yeah, he won though. He won big time.
He sure did. I never understood the idea of trying to stop crime before it happens. I say let it happen, and then we shoot and work it out from there.
That's bullshit too, by the way. That's a border town. There's a reason why CBP is like, the Border Patrol is like super prevalent in that area. There's a reason why the BORTAC, unconstitutional BORTAC special weapons and operations for ICE and Customs and Border Patrol was there on scene. And that is because they think if you're an immigrant, you are more likely to do crime, which is statistically untrue, okay? Undocumented citizens are responsible for less crime per capita than natural-born U.S. citizens. It doesn't matter. They refuse to fucking admit that, and they just vilify undocumented immigrants over and over again. And that is a way to, like, precog crime. That's a way to do Minority Report. Just racism, basically. If you're black, you're more likely to do crime, is what they think, so they over-police black communities. If you're brown, you're more likely to do crimes because you're an illegal immigrant. So they over-police those communities and fund these fucking insane Gestapo forces that, by the way, they didn't do this at the Uvalde shooting. They did not do this at the Uvalde shooting. However, they did actually do this in El Paso under Donald Trump. Donald Trump's ICE famously took one of the victims that survived the El Paso shooting that was collaborating with the authorities to bring some semblance of justice in this circumstance, and they fucking deported him. ICE literally deported one of the fucking undocumented immigrants who survived the mass shooting in El Paso and was collaborating and providing eyewitness testimony to the authorities. That's how disgusting these fucking monsters are. That's how disgusting these freaks are. Honestly, there's a study where it says that more cops actually die from suicide. I don't know, than gunfire and on the line of duty deaths. Just think about that really quick. Think about that hard and quick. If you were there at Uvalde and you fucking prevented you prevented parents from actually entering the building, think about that statistic a little bit. If you have any honor, think about that.
What are you getting at?
Just nothing. I'm just saying, let's get those numbers up, baby.
Oh, Jesus. Come on, Hassan. Well, I think that there's probably a reason officers are killing themselves is because
they get PTSD on the job, when the guy who fucking the guy in Arizona who famously killed Daniel Shaver, who was on his hands and knees begging to not be murdered, he got PTSD, workers' comp. Sick. Dope.
Yeah, that was
for murdering him with a gun that his own fucking weapon, not even a service weapon, his own AR-15 that said like get some on the side of it, etched onto the side. Get fucked on the side of it. Yeah, that guy turned around and is getting forever PTSD workers' comp from the state.
Yeah, but just to kind of tag on to what you were saying, this is I looked it up. Sorry, hold on. Wait, hold on. We got an updated flag here. Mamma Mia, Marinara matters. This is pizza delivery drives lives matter.
Way more bus drivers, way more difficult job than fucking being a cop.
So
it's just like I get it. It's a really really fucking hard thing to like try. When you're a cop, you're dealing with people in their worst moments. Okay, I've done ride-alongs. I've written extensively on this during college and also after, and I understand that it's a necessary job, but the way that policing works in this country, they're not doing any of the things that they're supposed to be theoretically doing. And this is yet another instance of that. None of the shit that you see in the movies is real. They're not fucking jumping in front of bullets heroically, okay? That's not happening. They're cowering, they're soiling their fucking diapers and sitting around, sucking on their thumbs as they throw human bodies at the
Who are they to stop the parents from trying to help too? Like,
yeah, they already made that decision. They already made the utilitarian choice of fucking allowing, children to die.
Let somebody help, since you're too cowardly. Anyway, let's let the Texas Attorney General continue. If he can control where his eyes are at and make a continuous point.
But second, no, we need to continue to try to focus on preventing this. We can't stop bad people from doing bad things. They're going to violate murder laws. They're not going to follow gun laws. I've never understood that argument.
How do you know?
But we can't harden these schools. We can create points of access that are difficult to get through.
Doors.
That's the talking point they arrived at. That's why they're all saying points of access. That's literally
incredible. Yo, they
get talking
literally
points.
had a meeting. They're like, okay, we need a new one here to distract. doors, bro. They fucking we gotta reduce
Door
the
control, baby.
The doors.
Yeah, that's what.
Guys, it's the door control.
Also, he's trying to make this argument that you know, just because murder is illegal doesn't mean that people don't go murder people.
Yeah.
So by that logic, why not repeal those laws?
Yeah, no, abolish murder laws.
Let's
You should
just
be able to
legalize
murder
murder.
laws,
It's
you know?
and also it's
Doesn't
like,
help, right?
But why do they speak like they know what they're talking? Just try it. You're not even tried it.
These are the scumbags that are
Right.
like, if you fucking say something mean about a cop, it's a hate crime. Like, they're like, oh, we should do a law around, you know, hurting police officers' feelings, okay? Yeah, whatever, dude.
Administrators to respond quickly, because the reality is we don't have the resources to have law enforcement at every school. And so it takes time for law enforcement, no matter how prepared, no matter how good they are.
Look at how many people are outside. Look at they. You know what kills me? They had time to set up caution tape while he was in there killing kids.
Yeah.
They put up caution tape while shots were ringing
Yeah, I mean, they're
out and
securing the
kids were
perimeter.
dying.
Like,
It's
if they
bad.
actually had, you know, in a speedy manner, actually thrown their bodies at the fucking problem, then it's understandable you put caution tape. But they didn't do that. You know?
Oh, well, put the caution tape up after it's neutralized. Everybody should be in there.
Get there. So having the right training for some of these people at the school is the best hope. And nothing's going to work perfectly, but that, in my opinion, is the best answer to this problem.
Yeah. Door access. Yeah, the obvious answer, guys, that we're arriving to is door access and more firearm training for our teachers. So the conclusion is obvious, of course.
When I get mad at cops in this situation, or when I get mad at cops for you know, brutally, horrifically, unjustifiably murdering yet another unarmed civilian, the reason why I'm getting mad at them is not because like, ACAB, I hate cops across the board, whatever the fuck you have like fantasized about, okay? The reason why I get mad at it is because they have an important job, okay? And for that job, they get a fuckload of benefits, all right?
Also,
I understand that.
Also,
But
like,
do the fucking job. Don't murder random people. De-escalate in every situation that you can. And if there is a situation where you are required to be violent, that's the situation where you're supposed to be violent. This is it. This is when you murder, okay? This is when you do the murder. Not in all those other situations. Not when there's a 12-year-old playing with a fucking toy gun in a Cleveland playground and you drive over and you don't even get out of your fucking car. You start shooting at a 12-year-old from your fucking vehicle. That's not when you do the murder. You're doing the murder in the wrong place.
besides all the benefits, though, it just really pisses me off to no end how much like unquestionable respect and reverence they get, and they expect it actually at this point. They expect people to kiss their fucking boot. Otherwise, if you show them the slightest bit of non-compliance or questioning their authority, that's when you pray to God, because your life's in danger at that point.
It's a heavily armed, untrained militia of what is it, like 87% conservatives? That's what we
3%
got.
Domestic abusers.
Yeah, that's what we got, dude. That's the police force, baby. You know, that's the situation that we're in. Like, we just have these guys roam around. They create enclave towns away from the fucking actual city that they are supposed to be protecting and serving. They are not a part of your fucking communities. They do not have any interest whatsoever. Your tax dollars are literally fucking paying their salaries so that their enclave fucking communities actually have better public education and better social safety nets for their fucking children. We're paying for these fucking pieces of shit to live a comfortable life. Okay?
There was a story of one of the cops ran in, saved this kid, and then left.
Oh yeah, that's
Did you guys hear about that?
I saw that as well. They were
That's
like
a hero,
stopping
huh?
parents from fucking entering, and then cops were, like, that have their own children. There was a cop whose daughter died in there as well. They were stopping parents from entering, but they were entering in after the perimeter was set to like literally evacuate their children personally. Which, like, if you're gonna do that, just fucking also shoot the shooter, man. Holy shit.
So obviously there's a lot of suggestions about what's the right solution. We've heard door control, we've heard giving teachers guns, but she has a really interesting idea that I think would work.
I mean, this is just
Fox
beyond
News.
shocking. I would like to see this a national push toward, instead of parents buying their kids all these tools and toys and games, invest in the classroom to make it safer. There are companies out there that will do that. They'll come out and they'll do threat assessment of the whole school. They'll say, this is an area of vulnerability that you might want to address, and this is how we would address it. And they have, they have blankets that you can put up on the wall that are colorful and beautiful, but they're ballistic blankets. I mean, they're
So just to
That's insane. Do you
just to
hear
paraphrase,
yourself?
This is on Fox News, the most popular news network. Let me just paraphrase
Do you
here.
fucking hear yourself? It's like, oh, it's a natural disaster.
No,
it's
dude,
gonna,
she
it's
said,
gonna happen.
she said, stop buying toys and bullshit like that for your kids, and start buying ballistic blankets to put up on the walls of our.
It's
of
gonna
our-
get worse.
Think about this, guys.
It's gonna get
this
dumber.
This is a mainstream opinion. This guys. This is on Fox News.
Anything that you can conjure up, anything that I have joked about in the past becomes legislation for the Republican Party because, like, they are out of options, okay? This is like hitting you in the head with a fucking mallet, this problem.
People got to stop buying
And-
it, though. It's
and
getting so comically absurd.
It doesn't matter because they've already, it's all sports. It's a team sports mentality.
Guys,
I love my guns.
ballistic
I love the
blanket.
Republican Party. That's right. Get some fucking ballistic blankets in.
Stop buying toys. Start buying ballistic
Also, people are just
blankets.
really
guys.
fucking stupid. That's another thing that
Just-
we, like, need to account for here. Like, they're just fucking dumb. They don't think about it. They're just like looking
there
at
are
someone.
ways to obscure the classroom windows so that the
Nope.
shooter can't.
Yeah. So remove windows.
Yeah.
No toys. Ballistic blankets. Is this the world we want to live in?
We should give them guns. We should give the children guns. Why not? Why stop at the fucking teachers? Some of these teachers are,
This
they're
world
not-
the world that they're fighting for is like an unlivable hellscape, where kids, instead of playing with toys, get ballistic fucking
That's
blankets.
not entirely true, Ethan, because they are far removed from the consequences of this world that they're talking about. That's the only reason why they can get away with saying this shit, okay?
Talking about their own kids.
When you go to the NRA convention, you can't bring a gun there. Why? Because Donald Trump's there. He has Secret Service. So no one is allowed to bring a fucking weapon
The
to the NRA
Secret
convention.
Service,
It's
it's
not
their
for them.
belief.
It's for you.
The Secret Service holds that having guns around the president is dangerous.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
they
just
believe
make that clear, because
Yeah.
that's not what these guys are saying. They're saying
No.
when
Yeah,
more
why doesn't the
guns-
Secret Service be like, yeah, we should put ballistic.
They should be handing guns out.
Yeah, we should be putting a ballistic blanket around Donald Trump.
Yeah.
If there's a shooting, just put a fucking nice little MAGA blanket. That's a ballistic blanket around him. Wrap him up.
Just give everyone in the crowd a gun.
Yeah.
That way, if somebody bad shows up, all of the good guys collectively can just unload on the one bad guy.
Here's a nice compilation just to kind of show you the rhetoric going on Fox